Do you know if I can add people from my Vantage?
As I was trying to look at that earlier, I wish there was a way I could make you an admin, but it didn't let me do that. But the way Google works, you have to have a great organization and add people to your organization. All right. Present. Just quit working on me. Oh, there it is. Hey, Nico, can you hear me all right from over here?
Yeah, sounds great.
All right, cool. All right, thanks for coming out. I'm going to be talking about feature flags tonight and what they are, how you can use them, how you can safely build and deploy features with them. So things we'll be talking about tonight, walking through, describing a common feature release scenario, describe what feature flags are and how you can use them to mitigate risk, different ways of implementing the feature flags, going over the Flipper gem, which is my favorite implementation, and then just going over some best practices, some cross-platform integration options, and I have an app I'm going to demo along the way as well. So let's go over the scenario. We have a burger ordering application that we're maintaining. Currently, restaurant owners can log in, manage burger ingredients, and set prices on those ingredients, and those prices per ingredient add up to the final price of the burger. But product owner comes up to us and says, hey, we want price sheets. So beginning of second quarter or the first quarter of the year, we can change the prices of these ingredients and toggle between them as needed. So we had price sheets to app.
So what, like they charge more and then they say, no, like customers are buying it, change it back, change it back.
Or like, the cost of ingredients goes up as cost of inflation, right? So the idea is we have prices set on the ingredients right now, and then with price sheets, we'll copy them over to the price sheets, and you can toggle between.
Did this actually happen, or is this like a metaphor for like?
This is going to be the demo app.
Okay.
I thought about have you ever been to like a Wawa?
Yeah.
They would have you go to those kiosks and you pick what you want. You can add ingredients in them.
Oh yeah, and if you join 10 minutes late, the price goes up. Yeah, happens when I pump the gas as well. Change the price.
Change the price on the gas. Right.
You see me coming.
So create the price sheets. We'll add the test to make sure that you create the price sheets and you add line items for each ingredient, that it all works. Common practice in a lot of companies, merge a feature to a staging branch. Either you or a QA team will look at it. Might get a code review or a feature review. Everyone signs off on it.
I think you might have someone that joined.
Yeah, let me check. Thank you. Hey, Michael, welcome. So we deploy the feature and no issues are reported, but we haven't actually implemented the price sheet yet. So no one reported anything, but from the developer standpoint, we think it's all good, because no one's reported any issues from it. So we're moving on to other features as the developer. But
so the ask just to recap for Mike,
Mhm.
the ask was to create pricing sheets because inflation's rising, and we wanted to see what it would be like to charge more money and be able to revert it back if the customer stopped buying.
Exactly. Yeah. So first iteration of the feature, or first iteration of the product was you add ingredients and you add prices to the ingredients directly, but the prices of those can change over time, and we might know what the price is going to be in the future, but we're not charging that immediately. So that's what price sheets would be. We could have different sets of prices. So we think the deployment was successful, but was it? Well, a restaurant owner decides to activate a new price sheet, and customers start placing orders, and they start reporting problems. So we check the error log, and we see there's an error because price sheet is missing entries for some of the ingredients. So they added ingredients to the price sheet, but they missed some. So thankfully, at this point, it's just a data problem. You can just add missing ingredients, but there's still a code bug to fix. So that's right. Basically, what went wrong. Developer copied the existing ingredient prices. So you can imagine we had like a data migration, I guess, doing a testing pass because it always accounted for adding all the ingredients. This kind of bug isn't catastrophic because you can rectify it in the data by adding the missing entries, but still a bug. You theoretically we should be able to find this, and if it were a more serious issue that required a code release, then the product would be down for a while, right? So some things to think about. Everything with development carries some sort of risk. We're building a new feature, we're releasing into production. Depending on the usage, it may have low risk if it's, especially something that's not used too much. But if we're changing things or adding functionality to things that are core functionality, in this case, customers placing orders, that could carry a lot of risk if it went down. So developers are generally good at identifying and repairing issues as they come along, but bugs will still occur, and we want to keep the downtime as minimal as possible. Sometimes the bug fix involves rectifying production data as an example, but sometimes we have to spend a lot of time fixing code. So
how long did it take you to fix the data problem once you realized what was going on with the missing items? Like, is it 1 day, 3 hours? How long were users having a bad experience?
Well, this is just a demo scenario, so this didn't actually take down a real product. But I've seen features be down for a day or two. If the outage depends. How do I describe this? How you handle the outage often depends on the usage. If it's something that's throwing an error but really is only used once every few weeks, then it's probably okay to just focus on fixing at the code level. But if it's like core functionality that this is resulting in a full-scale outage, then oftentimes you got something like this, you'd have to revert the code to the previous state and just get it back up as soon as possible, right?
But if you have a feature flag, you don't revert the code, right? You just toggle the flag.
That's right. If you have a guard around it, you can go back and forth. Then you don't necessarily have to revert right away or push a fix right away, even. Depends on the scenario. So essentially, we want to have a fallback plan, like a feature flag or something else to what do we do if this release fails. Reverting code is an option, but it's often expensive, and depending on how you do releases, maybe you just release this one thing. But sometimes the release is part of it. The release includes other features, so extracting that out could be difficult depending on how it's packaged. So what are feature flags? I mean, so essentially they're logic gates around a feature. So when you're building a feature, you think of the state that it's in now, and you try to preserve that state, and then you add, like, if this tag is present, then set it's the new state. So you're building the feature with the flag in mind initially. The implementation of the flag itself can vary. It can be environment variables on the system, or it could be a table in the database. I mean, it could even be something in the code. It could actually be hard coded in as like one global constant, for example.
So this isn't just like I'm showing or not showing a feature. This can go to like the database level, and like whether some request gets hit, like what have you experienced with it? Is it mostly showing and not showing things, or do you have examples where you did stuff outside of that?
It's mostly showing and not showing.
Okay.
But sometimes we go as far as exposing routes versus not exposing routes.
Okay.
Yeah, it just depends on how much usage there are. So yeah, generally speaking, I'd say hiding it versus showing it in the UI is a good place to start. If goal of the feature flag is to introduce new functionality while preserving old functionality as a fallback. Who can toggle them is it's generally a matter of how complex you want it to be. There's tools that will give you UIs so that it's not strictly a developer concern. You can have system admins or other people that essentially own the feature that can toggle it as needed. And the other benefit of feature flags is you can do incremental rollout. So you can build features in pieces, and keeping with like a continuous deployment strategy. If your company's into that, you can build sections of the feature, actually deploy the code to production, but they're hidden. So only when the feature is entirely built do we then turn it on. So that's a.
Did you ever turn the feature flag on for like a partial of the audience?
Yeah.
Okay.
So a real example at my job, I maintain an API for mobile applications, and we have some features that we want for iOS versus Android. So we would turn kind of as an A/B test. We would turn it on for iOS first, make sure that path is successful, and then we would turn it on for Android later.
That's what I was gonna say. Is it sounds like helpful for like A/B testing for people want to see like sales numbers or something like tied into a CRM. Like,
yeah, exactly. That is one of the use cases. The gentleman I'm going to show later has like a few A/B features, but yeah, you can enable them for down to the specific user or specific role. So we do a lot of that. It kind of already describes a little bit. Implementation options, you can do it via environment variables. If it's Rails, you have the .env Rails gem, so you create the .env file, and then Rails apps can read from that once initialized. You can maintain a simple database table of strings, and that could be elaborated. So you want to have features turned on for specific users or groups, you can do that. And then of course there's libraries that will take care of that. So you can do, excuse me, Flipper, Launch Darkly, Flagsmith. If you have a cloud option, the benefit of the cloud services is if you want to have flippers across different applications. So
we're using Flipper with Launch Darkly?
no, these are all different products. Launch Darkly and Flagsmith are, I think they're exclusively cloud. I didn't dive into them too much.
But you were saying we could have flippers with different stuff.
Flippers for different applications.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you had more of a microservices architecture, you might be building features across multiple applications essentially. So they might not have access to the same database or same environment. So that's where you want to have a cloud option like that.
So is Flipper coupled to a database?
Yes, there is a cloud option of Flipper, but Flipper, the gem itself is tied into your SQL database. It has an active record extension, so you'll see later it comes with migrations to set up the tables and everything. So I think I've pretty much covered this conversation too so far, but external library with cloud option, feature flags, and then application database. You can enable them globally or to specific users or groups. I'll show how to set that up in the models. This one's weird. You can actually have it, not the percentage of user, but it's percentage of time. You can have it kind of round robin, where it's only on for like per request. It will either be enabled or disabled. So maybe I don't know. It's weird. I don't.
So like if they try and then they refresh and try again.
Yeah.
The first time it fails, but the second time it
They
works.
like
it's
percentage, like 0 to 100%. Like 5% of the time you'll see this. I haven't found a use case for that.
This is fun. If you wanted to do like Easter egg stuff and have it fail like 80% of the time.
Yeah.
Succeed like.
I guess it's really good for like testing like failure scenarios if you want to like give me a 500 response half the time.
What could also just be, it could be another sales thing, like if a company wanted to see if, if they secure more leads with this feature set rather than that feature set.
An A/B test.
Yeah, just A/B testing. Right?
Yeah.
Because if you have like a sales tracker seeing like what leads were converted.
It seems easier to turn it on, like give me a random set of users and like keep it on for them. Like that's usually what I see in like Facebook or YouTube. Like they'll.
Yeah, but this is interesting. It's like I'm gonna change my sales tack mid-user, mid-pitch.
Yeah.
Like sometimes the same.
Let's go at a different angle.
Time, right?
Like suddenly the website's blue and it's like, whoa, now your sales go up, and then the website's green and then sales go down.
That's true. Like maybe it's like different colors. Maybe there's like a certain messaging that changes.
This is making me think totally differently about the user experience.
Right. Let's see what else. Oh, demo. So
Dun, dun, dun.
now comes the fun part of.
Is that the last slide?
It's not the last slide,
Okay.
but I pretty much it described everything so far, but what this app's going to be. So now it's time to show it.
Dun, dun, dun.
So I come to, what is it? My
Burger
user
bot.
setup. User one. So this is actually the pre-price sheets implementation. So if I come to ingredients, I have different breads, patties, cheese, toppings, sauces, and they all have different prices.
Yeah.
So
And different. The width is different.
the width of the
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't push, I did use Tailwind, but I didn't style it up too much. These are all different
Okay.
tables. Like I can just like edit the name, the ingredient type, and the price.
Okay.
So that's symbol CRUD functionality there, and then I have a burger creator screen. So create a simple cheeseburger, no toppings.
Good old wizard.
Yeah, it's a burger wizard. Plain cheeseburger. So that creates successfully, and then $1.60. If you dive into there, the prices themselves will add up to
Okay.
$60. So that's the basic functionality of the app. And to show a little bit of the code, what you saw was a burger creator there. So we get params in from a burger order post endpoint, takes the params, parses the, gets the ingredients from the request, and it creates order ingredients as the join table, and it's setting the price. Yeah. And then the order total is just the sum of the ingredient prices. I don't think there's anything else that's relevant at this point for price sheets. I don't think so. Are there any questions so far? All right. So I'm going to switch over to a price sheets branch. And for the sake of time, I'm going to run the setup again. It's going to reset everything.
So it's like a price sheet, like a CSV file. Like a big thing that they imported.
I think in reality it would be, yeah. I didn't build a CSV importer, but in reality, you probably have a spreadsheet you want to import to that.
Well, I was looking at this one, and it seemed like you could have that be like an admin thing to be able to create a new burger, and then like maybe a time to say like a week from now, let's make this go live, or like a percentage of users. You see that a lot in A/B tests where you would give that option where like I want this to show to 50% of users.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, curious to see this. This sheet implementation here.
So we have price sheets now. My seed already came with a price sheets. So Q1 2023, it's active now.
So can you like duplicate this price sheet?
I don't have a duplicator on here, but I could. So yeah, this is essentially just all the same ingredients that we had before. It's not neatly categorized, but it's everything. And I can come into add ingredient, set a price for that. I can edit it as well. I'll make that 55 cents or something. And then same thing would follow here. I'll just create the plain cheeseburger again. And now it's 165 because we just changed the price of a white bun to 55 cents.
Okay.
So I look back to my burger creator. What's changed here is this line where for the order ingredient, we're now getting the price from the ingredients price sheet ingredient price cents. So that's actually, remember how I coded this, price sheet ingredient. It's finding the current active price sheet and for that ingredient and pulling that price as opposed to the previous implementation, which is the ingredient's own price. So I described earlier how this breaks. We were able to create a burger just now, but if we went to the price sheet and we dropped the Texas toast, if I went and created a burger with Texas toast, Texas burger, that's going to fail because we no longer have a active price sheet ingredient for that ingredient with that price. So also theoretically, if we created a price sheet with no ingredients on it and made it active, no one will be able to create an order. So,
So we shipped the bug.
So we shipped a bug, essentially. Yeah. So there would be code work needed. I mean, this is a demo app, of course. It'd be a pretty small chain. You'd probably have it out in a few minutes or an hour, depending on your release process.
Not me. It took me 3 days. They better pay me too.
But I mean, if this were a real restaurant and customers were placing orders, it would be quite problematic, to say the least. So this is where we're going to talk about what this would look like with feature flag. So I'm going to switch to another branch. Price sheets. I think it's like environment variable. Yeah, and flag.
I wonder, can you set up like a strategy where like if this fails, toggle the feature flag to give them the the backup experience, or is a feature flag always manually done from a place of intelligence?
I mean, I've only seen it done like explicitly.
Okay. It'd be cool to like automate it.
You definitely want to know what features are on.
Yeah, but it'd be cool to automate it and automate a refresh. Like if something bad happened, be like, oh, never mind, here you go, and hard refresh.
It's definitely one of those. It depends. I could see a benefit of that, of like, maybe it's Christmas week and all the devs are at the office. Like maybe you want to have something like if
boss really needs it in.
A threshold of errors coming around this feature, and then you can revert back to the old one. But generally, product owners want to know what's currently out there, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure there'd be a way to do that with like Sentry callbacks or something.
Yeah.
Like have Sentry flip it for you or something.
It'd be cool. Yeah, I know I haven't used Sentry. I know. What?
I don't know if that's a thing. I feel like that should be
Cool.
Because I know Sentry does have like.
Do they give you like access to like an environment? Like
I think it might. Yeah.
I know. CI/CD tools do that, like Circle CI. Like they give you access to like their build environments, and you can put all kinds of automated scripts in there.
Yeah.
Mr. Pope, do you know anything about this? Have you messed with feature flags? Maybe he won't speak up. Trying to draw him out.
Side note, I tried to stylize that pocket page with the Tailwind. But it was like an incredible pain to do that. Because I'm just using Devise. So if you know anything about Devise, you have to. You have to. It comes with views in the gem, and if you want to override them, you have to
go copy it or take it. Yeah.
All right. So this is with the feature flag turned off with an environment variable. So if I reload that now, we know it was a one-liner change. So the price is, if the environment variable is true, use the new functionality. Otherwise, use the old functionality and get the price off the ingredient directly. Additionally, you'll see that we don't have any price sheets in our menu anymore. And that's because, where did I put that? In nav or application. I put it in here. Yeah. So in the application template, I'm also checking the environment variable. So yeah, you want to have it. It depends on the depth of the issue. Obviously, I think you want to have the feature guarded at the view, but you also want to have it in the functionality. There's two ways of doing things. If you change an existing feature, then you need to check it there as well. Anyone else try to join recently?
No, not that I know of.
Okay.
I
So only.
I've had a few people like message, but we'll get them next time.
Sounds good. I think that was the only thing that I may have actually changed the routes in here. This probably wasn't totally needed, but not a bad idea. So you can do it in the routes file too. And just say, you know, only if it's true.
All right, what's your like red flag? What's your like, when do I need to know this should be a feature flag? When do I make that determination? Like, are you at work, boss is pitching something, and you're like, yeah, we can do that. And then there's a different type of work, and you're like, this should have a feature flag. How do you make that determination?
It depends. If there's a few factors to play into that. If there's a lot of users that are expected to use this immediately,
so like
I want
hot
them to have
feature, hot new feature,
hot new feature. I want them to have
hot existing feature. Yeah.
if it's a change to an existing feature that adds or drastically transforms functionality, that's something I'm definitely gonna make.
Okay.
Yeah. If it's a brand new feature and only a few people are expected to use it at first, I'm probably not gonna make it. I'm probably not gonna put it behind a flag. So, yeah, users and how much this impacts existing workflows, I'd say.
We used to do Adobe Target for A/B testing, and we would put stuff that we were going to test specifically, like if our OKR, objective key result, was being measured, then we would only put the feature flags on that thing that was related to the OKR. You know?
Like importance for the
for like a
OKRs.
target outcome for our presentation.
Sure. Yeah, just to show that this actually works. Set that to true, have to restart the server.
Okay, so every time we change a feature flag, we have to restart the server. It's
And
not,
if it's an environment variable like this, actually I probably didn't need to well,
we can't do
yeah.
like a post request to an API that will change it for us. We have to actually bring the server down.
If it's an environment variable, no, no APIs can set that. The reason I restarted the server is specifically for the routes, which in Rails routes, if you change your routes, you have to restart the server.
Okay.
If I didn't guard these, I probably could have just updated the environment variable and it would work. To refresh it now. Yep, now we have spreadsheets.
The way to do what you were talking about would be like what you were talking about before, is like having a constant in the code itself.
Yeah.
Rather than an environment variable. But I guess that's potentially less. Like it's nice to have the environment level, like have that knowledge at the environment level. So I feel like it's probably.
Well, yeah, you do it at the environment too, then you have the benefit of like maybe turning this on and staging first versus production.
And you don't have to worry about like passing that variable around all the time. It's just in the environment, like always. But yeah, you could do it with like a.
I've noticed that side conversation earlier. I noticed that Elixir that they discourage the use of environment, or it's an article that's talking about discouraging the use of like environment variables.
Really interesting.
I think it has to do with the compilability there or something. Anyway, that's pretty straightforward with environment variable approach. I'll show off the Flipper approach.
Okay, so this was not the Flipper approach.
This is not the Flipper. The Flipper you'll see is
So I'm about to have my mind blown.
I'm running DB setup now. This is actually going to add 2 or 3 more tables.
Okay.
Cool. So no price sheets, but we have the that's where that arrived in update. I also have a new Flipper route, and I named it price sheets. So I turn that on now, and
Okay.
I come back to there in a minute, but just to show that it works, here's our price sheets. So yeah, what are some things you can do with this? Let's go back and look at that. You also had to add it. So it was previously wasn't a known feature, but it was in the code. We'll explore that in a minute. So you can delete it so it's no longer known in the database. That's just completely removed. I can disable it. So if we come to our list of features, we know that it's there. We weren't working with it, but we just have it turned off right now. And this is what I was talking about. I can turn it on for a set of individual users, individual groups, percentage of users, and percentage of time. So I know the user ID that I added, I'm logging right now for myself, is 1. Their syntax is actually weird. It's not colon, it's semicolon. So that is the database model semicolon 1. That's the ID. And if I add that, so how does that work? I can the code. I end up removing the.
Shouldn't you have enabled it for someone other than yourself?
What's that?
If you enabled it for someone other than yourself, we could see it fail. And then we can see it succeed when you put it to yourself.
Let's see, I can do that now. I have a second user.
So you're gonna like log out. Oh, I see the new
I
code.
can go incognito. I can have a user 2 in the seed. Not enabled. And if I so back to my user, if I go there, I have it enabled. So that's
Nice.
user 1, and the other one was user 2.
Now, does Flipper tell you anything about the metrics, or that would be captured by like Adobe or
You have to capture
Google,
usage.
some other tracking?
Yeah.
Okay.
This will just tell you the users and groups that it's enabled on.
Okay. That's interesting because it knows 50% of the users.
That wasn't 50% though. It doesn't.
Yeah,
know.
but if it gives you that capability, you would think it had the ability to figure out, usage and using it.
How is that configured? I guess while I'm here first, this is how you get that Flipper route in the UI. They provide that UI in the gem. And worth noting, there's actually several gems as part of the suite. There's the base library. There's the active record library. So because you can be doing Mongo or something that I have a Mongo iteration of this. And the Flipper UI is specifically for that UI component. So you can use Flipper without the UI. You can do this entirely in code. And maybe you have it, or maybe you have a different UI. I don't know. But Flipper essentially gives you the database and the code of libraries for it at its core. So I look at my user model. I have a flipper identifier, so you can include these in any model that you want to have as a flipper role or group that you can enable. So let's say this user was part of a restaurant owner role. You can do this at the role level as well. So when if I enabled it for that role, then all the users under that role would see that feature. But for now, I just have it on the user. And then for the view, so we have this flipper dot enabled question mark. Give it a symbol for the name. This could be a symbol or a string. I could also do price sheets, and that would work just the same. Users also an optional argument. I could just do that. If I did that, I would only check if it's globally enabled. But since we have the option of doing users, it will read if it's enabled just for that user, or if it's enabled globally, it'll still return true. And I'm doing the same check for my ingredients. Actually, that.
This could be useful if, like, if you were given a demo. If you were given a demo to, like, the CEOs of the company, and, like, the guy giving the demo, something screws up, but, like, he's playing it cool. So you just flip the flipper mid-demo, and, like, the guy presenting just acts like nothing happened. And he's like, yeah, see, now it's working.
It's working. one time fun. So what else do I want to show here? Go back to the flippers. I can do that. I can let's do the actors. So that's their terminology. They call it the users or groups acting or actors.
How do you know if you'll be on the left side of the 50% or the right side of the 50%?
We can check that through the Rails console.
Okay.
So theoretically, it goes through all the actors.
Does it go based off usage, or does it hit the database and, like, say half the users in the table are going to have this and half?
It's probably I didn't look at the code behind this, but it's probably it goes through all the actors. In this case, everyone in the users table,
okay,
and says, like, give me 50% of the IDs and turn them all on. So
okay, interesting.
I have 3 users. I did have 3 users. So if I see user.first, say flipper.enabled.
Oh, cool, you can check.
Yeah. False for that.
False for first.
Second.
That's crazy that you don't do 1, 2, 3. You do
So that didn't work. Did I miss something here?
There's a save button.
Save. Yep. First.
Oh
No.
Oh,
So maybe I'm wrong about that
Flipper
functionality.
let you down.
Uh,
Do you have to restart
Oh,
the
did
server?
you reload the console? You have to reload it? Reload
let's
bang?
try that.
Come on, programming gods.
Nope.
Sometimes you gotta slay a goat, have it bleed out on your keyboard.
Well, that's how it'll work in theory.
Okay,
But
we'll come back to that one.
one I would hope still works. Let's turn that off.
Or like 100% of actors.
Well, I think that would just default to fully enabled if I did that.
We shall see.
How did I save that? Yeah, maybe there's a bug there. Maybe there's something I'm missing. If I did the 50% of the time trick,
We can just keep refreshing, right?
then yeah, then I should be able to refresh. It's not there. It's there.
Oh,
It's
do it again.
there. It's not there.
That's so wild.
Right?
I love it. This is my favorite feature of the whole talk. Oh man, this gives me so many possibilities on April Fools. And April is coming up. Oh boy. Don't go to some of these famous websites, big websites around April Fools. I'll get you.
Yeah, someone at
Randomly get confetti. Like what is this?
someone at my company.
A llama just walks across the page.
They so we have an internal dashboard that our operations team uses, and they one of the front end devs inserted an Easter egg for Halloween that whenever you visit the page, it would confetti a bunch of like spiders and
Yes.
pumpkins.
Yes. And then the
Yeah.
boss will be like, "Hey, did you hear about this?" So I haven't seen it because it's only set up for like 2% of users, so you have to refresh it 200 times. Fine.
Right?
Take a video. Classic.
Let's see. I'm trying to figure out if there's anything else I have
Oh,
on
dude,
that.
we could have put so many Easter
Okay.
eggs into this talk. This talk has a lot of potential.
Yeah, it's all I have for the features on this app. They want to cover the Flipper Gem docs. Actually, it's the second link. That's the GitHub page. So yeah, that's how you check if something's enabled. The page I wanted to show, and I don't have it bookmarked, but well, yeah, I guess I'll just note somewhere in these docs they have they show you how to enable the Flipper route specifically for individual users or roles. Because being able to turn features on and off is probably something you don't want to let everyone do, but it's if I want to assign some system admins for it. So they do have that.
So Flipper's your go-to.
Yeah, it's my go-to.
And what do you like most about it? That ability to do it as an admin, or is it easy?
I like the AV functionality
Okay.
of it. I can.
Yeah.
This
Have you ever turned on, enabled a percentage of the time? Have you ever done that?
I have done percentage of time. I've done percentage of actors, and I've done individual actors. I've actually done individual actors more because we might have like
Have your boss
some
on
power
and be
users.
like, you're gonna try out this experience. Have people sign up, and then when they sign up, you save them to the database. They're signing into the beta. So now it reads from the database and says, these are the 20 people that are currently enabled.
Yeah, we also have like at a more powerful functionality of this is we'll expose these over an API, and our mobile apps will actually consume it. Say like, okay, if this is on, show that like an entirely new iteration of this, like an entirely new version, and it can be for specific users at that level. So yeah, same functionality essentially. Yeah, back to the slides. A few more slides left.
Ooh.
Best practices. Yeah, so just be careful with data migrations. Like not everything can be flipped on and off, but if there are data migrations involved, try to think ahead on that and see it as a way to, if you have something on an old table and you're transforming the old table, maybe create a new table instead. New widgets versus old widgets, and copy everything over. That way, if you have to roll back, it's less painful. You can turn off the Clipper and then do a reverse data migration if you have to. Still not fun, but it's a lot better than having to fix existing data, trying to get back in the old format, and yeah, it just ends up being time consuming. So another thing to keep in mind with feature flags is a feature might be turned on apart from when developers release the feature. So if the developer releases a feature and it's like 2 weeks from now that the feature is actually turned on, thanks. Then those developers should be aware. That way, if anything comes up, they know what to look for, where to look. They're not totally surprised by it. Document feature activation dates. So when something was turned on, that once again generally helps with bug searches if you start seeing odd errors.
Do you feature flag everything when you go on vacation?
Do I feature flag?
Because it's going to go down the second you leave.
I just don't release it. I one, don't release it when I go on vacation, and two, I just don't turn anything else on.
No, go on vacation, but just have your team feature flag it.
Yeah, absolutely. Schedule cleanup. Feature flags, the downside of them is they make your code messy. You have a lot of if-else checks. In the demos, there was pretty much only 2 or 3, but in reality, you could have like the same feature being checked in like tens or dozens of files, and that's just not good code. And actually, if you're doing unit tests and integration tests on it, it actually makes it that much more complicated because you're telling the same file or the same feature. Like you can do 2 different things. So you want to actually remove the feature flag when you're done with it, and let's say a month, 2 months, depending on what it is. It's a good starting point to determine if something is stable.
Yeah, so we used to do it based off of the OKRs,
Mhm.
and then when the OKR was done, we'd kind of clean it up once we've kind of proven whether we want to go with that solution or not.
Right.
And we used Adobe Target, which would use like JavaScript that you would do inline. So if we proved something that was counter to the core code base, we would then like take it from inline JavaScript to rewrite it into the application.
That's cool. So you'd actually you release it and you get like user metrics on it and figure out what it was.
Yeah, we would see like a 20% usability uptick, and we'd prove it right, and then we say like, yeah, let's pull the trigger and let's add it to the code base.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've already covered like the A/B side, so incrementally roll out small user groups if possible. I think that's more important if you have a larger set of users. Pretty sure that's what Facebook does, right? Like they release something, they don't just release it to everybody.
Well, this is cool. Like the thing you showed with Flipper, like Microsoft, when they release a new version of their operating system, they'll say, hey, do you want to sign up for the beta? And you could just get that list and you can pass it to Flipper and just, be very granular.
I think iOS does it too. If they're want to use like a beta.
Yeah, I mean, this is also helpful. We are doing something where we have a bunch of restaurants that are coming online. So we've got like 2,000 restaurants, but right now we're at 20, and we're intentionally staggering that release because we want to be able to train people incrementally.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard when you just turn something on to 2,000 people. It's a little bit better if you go for 20 and then another 20 and then 100, because now you can control that experience and make sure people are getting value out of it.
Yes, you can get the whole benefit. You get to know is it being adopted, and he gets to fix issues as they come along.
In Adobe Target, we could do like a geofence. We could say this region, this location. Yeah, can you do something similar with Flipper, or have you seen anything with other tools?
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to create some kind of data model for geolocation. If you have that, you could definitely roll it.
Yeah, like
So
if
they
you
got, like,
knew where
location,
these
they-
different
they don't know
stores
that
or
out of the box.
restaurants are, you could do it
You
that way
just
in
did
the
query
database.
and just enable it.
Yeah. Right on.
I also touched upon this earlier, cross-application integration, but yeah, a lot of applications are either split up into microservices or they're part of a larger ecosystem. So consider opening up an API that exposes the different feature flags and their statuses on off. You'd also create a separate document that just shows, it's more hand maintained, but shows different feature flags, their status when they're activated, if and when they're planning to be deprecated. And then I mentioned the cloud services before too. So if you do use a cloud service, you can centralize it, have a flag control across multiple applications, and then define the scope of the feature flag. So does it need to be visible globally, or can you just define it at a local level at that database? You can use a mixture of cloud feature flags that are available to everyone. That you can also have like database centric or environment centric feature flags for more localized changes. Making an API to expose your active features. Check the feature against authenticated user if possible. Yeah, so you need to make an API, then probably want to make the API authenticated. So globally enabled. I'm putting together in JS. I was working on this over the weekend.
Uh-oh.
After there we go. Yeah, because I showed how to.
Yeah, you got a lot of gist now, or
I don't do too much. It's just yeah. This is how to way to set this up in Flipper, so you can do Flipper.features to get the list of features. They have a name and you can call them if they're enabled for that user. So you pass in the user here. This would be
that's
kind of the output.
JSON that feeds it.
Yeah. Those would be the JSON that gets output. So we call the API, get features, price sheets enabled, data price sheets. It's not available yet.
So this is how to set up the API.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then here's just the sample controller, how to set that up.
Scroll to the top.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your description's good. I was going to say you need a README, but the description is the README.
Yeah. Just see what else. Feature ownership. I think I touched upon this too a little bit.
I like the links.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, I decided we're going to be turning features on and off. It could be a developer, it could be a system admin, anybody, but it should be consistency. You can ask someone, hey, did we turn this on recently? We're planning to turn this on recently or soon. Just general good practice. Oh, there's the link I was looking for the doing the UI authentication. Thinking ahead, so you can open it up in a block and then authenticate them with a rack off thing. That way, yeah, I think actually this way right there, you're asking for a specific login for Flipper. You go to that route. So pretty cool. You can authenticate them. Yeah, otherwise I have a separate feature flag or role group. Cool. I don't know, this is totally relevant, but I like to encourage more documentation. So development always involves some risk. It's reduced when the intended functionality is available for reference. So yeah, if you know what it does, then it's easier to navigate. You'll generally know how a feature works when you just built it or it's about to be built. So it's a good time to write documentation. And you can do it during the planning phase. Then you can confirm between other developers on the team and other product owners if everyone's on the same page. Features can be documented from the end user perspective. How does it work through the UI? Essentially, what are all the ways a user can interact with the feature? And are there any edge cases that might be confusing to a first-time user? It could also be documented from an engineer architecture perspective. Depends on if you have the time and resources to do it. I definitely recommend they just say like, okay, maybe what are the services that are written that handle this code? What are the API endpoints? Things of that nature. Just to give you a roadmap, I guess if someone else has to debug it, it's easy to reference, but that's not totally related to some talk.
Have you ever had feature flags go wrong? Like, oh shoot, like, oh, like what?
With the feature broker, the feature flag.
And we used to use Adobe Target, and like I said, it just sprinkles JavaScript over the top, right? And one person would ship stuff that would just bring down the whole site, but it was JavaScript, so it was like it wasn't related to the actual code. It was just something would break that would break our whole page.
Yeah.
And it would go to users, and we were like, oh my gosh. And it was like this intern that was pushing this stuff. They weren't on our team. And so they were able to influence the entire app
Right.
by accident. And so that was concerning. Another person put something like "Hi Mom," and it's a console log, and they forgot to clean it up, and so it was in our app for like 2 weeks. It's just "Hi Mom," and it was like that one we thought was the intern, but it was actually like this really senior level guy. So like we had to like not be so mean because I don't know.
Yeah.
He could be mean back.
But
But like it was really aggravating because you'd be like
What-
troubleshooting some stuff and it'd be like, "Hi Mom," and it's like, "I don't want to talk to my mother right now."
what was the question? Like, were those changes behind a feature flag through Adobe Target?
They were changes that would you would enable them for a percentage of the users,
And then they would just break.
no, I mean like for the console log, it would just show like half the time.
Yeah.
You know, like if you were in that region, it was geofenced. And,
Well, I mean,
and then the thing is, like the
That's what
guy
I guess that's the code.
pushed it, but maybe he's not in the region anymore, so he doesn't know to clean it up. But like I'm seeing it every day, and I can't clean it up because I don't have access to that test. So it was just like mildly frustrating.
well, yeah, I mean, that's like a matter of severity. If it was something that like totally broke the
Totally, yeah, we would
know
escalate
about
it,
it,
yeah.
um,
But that did happen. That did happen. Sure.
I haven't seen feature flags break. I've seen them get lost to where something would get turned off and that should have been on, and like nobody knew
Yeah.
about it for months. So I've seen that.
Yeah, so you said there's that month avenue, but I think there's also like it's that moment where you say this will be permanently in our site. That's the moment to clean it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is just a summary. How can we better manage this? So in our Virgo app example, we added the price sheets feature. The intended use cases were tested. We didn't test the edge case that, hey, user made a mistake and didn't add all the required records for that price sheet. So we may have lost a few orders in our downtime.
Oh no.
Well, if we had we didn't have the feature flags. We had to like, write code and, do a full deploy that, depending on your release cycle, it could be 30 minutes, could be an hour, 3 hours. So a feature flag, we would have reduced our downtime. Other things we could do with it, we can test with specific restaurants. So we had a lot of restaurant users. We can, release incrementally. We could have a system admin toggle the flipper while developers are away. We can respond to feedback without resorting to drastic options to fix it. So if we were, let's say it was a bigger feature and we had to do a rollback, code rollback, we don't have to necessarily do that here. Transparency around feature releases, since we have basically an active list of recently released things when they were turned on, and then just overall you have better stability because you're rolling out things incrementally to individual users or groups. It's generally less risk. So that's all I got. Any questions?
Mr. Pope, do you have any questions? Or Nico? Nico, have you finished driving?
I have finished driving. Yeah, that was a good presentation.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I'm trying to think about how to work that into my workflow, but I feel like it would add some much needed stability to, rather than just throwing things in as I currently usually do.
Have you shipped anything cool lately?
Not super. I'm close to finishing something up that will soon be pretty cool. But no feature flags in it.
Yeah, if you have anything starting soon.
Yeah, exactly. I'm taking I'm taking notes for something like that for the next project for sure. Sorry for the baby in the background. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Reach out if you have questions on anything that like this general concept as a whole.
And you know how to find us in person too.
That's right. That's right. I'll be back there for sure, especially when I start some new projects.
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, thank you for this.
Cool. So
I think I asked a lot of questions, Ron.
it's good.
Oh, links. I like links.
Yeah, I'm gonna post this slide or this slideshow in the I guess the RubyJax channel and the meetup, and then I'll also post a recording. Thanks, Michael. All right. Stop the recording. That's a wrap.
I saw Michael today. He's doing all right. He's just pretty busy.